We have your attention. Welcome back to America Talks Live. It's not every day that all of us experience something together. Well, every person yesterday with a cell phone got that alert. It was a test, and a test of the 21st century version of the emergency broadcast system. It's similar to an Amber Alert, and not all that different from the original idea behind the emergency broadcasting system, which was first used in the early 1960s. Back then, according to the New York Times, quote, the system was established to provide the President of the United States with an expeditious method of communicating with the American public in the event of war, threat, or grave national crisis. But of course, this is 2018, John, not 1963. Yeah. And that means people have to completely lose their minds about every single thing President Trump does. Far-left filmmaker Michael Moore tweeted that it was a test, just a test, but make no mistake about it. This is the world in which we live in now, and that's my final line in Fahrenheit 11/9, his new movie. A few minutes ago, Trump gave us a preview of the state of emergency he is creating to justify the end of democracy as we know it. Resist. Resist, John, of course.
I don't even understand where Moore is going.
Well, we know where he's going, right? He got that plug in for his
movie.
That's it. All right, so let's welcome back former Navy SEAL and author Carl Higbie. Carl, do you think Michael Moore is really freaking out about this, or is he just trying to pump up his movie?
I think he's just trying to pump up his movie and maintain some sort of talking point. Look, I'll care what Michael Moore says the day he gets on a plane and goes to Canada like he said he would if Trump won. So I don't really care what he says.
There you go. Well, speaking of Hollywood, Carl, so in a sea of never-ending reboots, it seems like on television, comedian Tim Allen sitcom Last Man Standing made a triumphant return to TV last Friday with 8.1 million viewers. And that beat CBS's return of Murphy Brown the night before, despite heavy promotion and a surprise cameo by, well, Hillary Clinton. Now, when Last Man Standing was canceled last year, conservatives argued that the cancellation was proof that they weren't valued as customers in far-left Hollywood.
Yeah, they were. I mean, it's time and time again we see it. The liberal media, and look, the media is broadcasted out of 3 liberal cities, L.A., D.C., and New York.
That's right.
And it doesn't represent the entire rest of the country if you look at the electoral map. So when you have a show like Tim Allen that is about being a guy, it's not offensive, it's not meant to be derogatory. What it is meant to be is just being a guy, a normal life of a guy who works in the sports industry. I was one of those viewers. And you know what? I loved it. And the fact that it's back makes me happy. And they should take a page out of this book because they got to understand, look, liberal, Democrat, I don't care. I watched Sarah Silverstein. She doesn't agree with me on darn near anything. But I find stuff like that funny. It's okay to be funny on either side of the aisle. And Hollywood still hasn't gotten that.
Right. Yeah. Now, the USA Today, Carl, says that Murphy Brown took a ratings hit because the show debuted on the same night as the Kavanaugh hearings. A lot of people were not watching network television. They were more interested in cable news. But, Carl, maybe it had something to do with that fact that Hillary Clinton made that cameo appearance. Here is that clip, and I'm sorry to put you through this, but we need it for context here in the story.
I want you to know I'm not afraid of hard work. I'm qualified and ready on day one.
And I also assume you've had previous secretarial experience?
Absolutely. For 4 years, I was the secretary. Of a very large organization.
And you have all the requisite skills, computer, email?
Emails. Yeah. I do have some experience with emails.
I'm guessing you haven't seen this yet, and again, I apologize for making you watch it, but what was your reaction? I mean, are we at a place yet where it's okay for Hillary to make a joke about perhaps breaking federal law with her emails?
That's a good question.
You know what? Honestly, I'm fine with it. You look,
okay.
She lost biblically, and she lost bad. And in the America that she thought she knew does not exist. It never has, and it never will. So the fact that she can actually get, good for her. And I will never give Hillary credit for just about anything, but good for her for going out there and at least having a sense of humor about it. Now, do I still want to string her up for it? Absolutely. But I think it's good that she can get out and get over the fact that she lost. Maybe she can stop going to speaking about misogyny and sexism being the reason she lost. But for this, you know what? Maybe that might help somebody loosen the strings about everybody having their moral outrage.
I see your point. I definitely see your point.
No, it's a good point, though. Maybe this is cathartic for her and for some of her supporters.
I thought about the flippant comment she made about, what do you mean, with a cloth or something, when they were asking about wiping her hard drive. And it's just like that cost her a lot of votes. But
she's not going to run again. No, so Carl's got a point, though. Yeah, but the party doesn't want her. So Carl's got a point. There's really no downside for her doing this, right, Carl? I mean, Hillary's got nowhere to go but up. Maybe she gives herself a little pop culture boost in contrast to, like you say, her perceived misery when she speaks politically.
Right. Well, that was one thing on the campaign trail that she was known for, was her lack of humor and her lack of humanness.
Yeah.
And so maybe that she's trying to add that back to it so she can go back on the campaign trail for these nut jobs like Ocasio-Cortez and actually have some people show up for it. So I don't give her credit for much, but I'll give her credit for this. It's like, look, if you can laugh about your own failings, it's good.
Did you guys get your invites for Ocasio-Cortez's inauguration ball yet?
I did not. I did not. I'm waiting, though. I checked the email. I keep refreshing my email.
Yeah, she's going to get inaugurated if she wins. So, we were talking about Tim Allen earlier. He is definitely a conservative. He's out there about that, but he actually supported John Kasich in the 2016 election. But there was another actress who had a hit show and is going to be missing from the lineup this fall, who was a hardcore Trump supporter, and that's Roseanne Barr. We got a preview of what the Conners is going to look like without Roseanne. Take a look.
What's next for the Conners?
I thought we should talk about a game plan for Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas.
I say we follow the Connor tradition, spend every dime we have on Halloween, and then we have nothing to be thankful for or buy gifts with.
The Conners premieres Tuesday, October 16th on ABC.
Not a Roseanne fan. She lost me when she bastardized the national anthem.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
But this is kind of like Van Halen without
this is
David Lee Roth.
Van Hagar, right?
It's not going to work, I don't think, Carl.
Well, the thing is here, too, is you have a number of conservatives that watch that show, and I know a good deal of them, but conservatives vote with our dollars, we vote with our eyes, we vote with our feet. And you're going to lose 90% of the conservative audience if she's not in it. Now, wherever Roseanne goes, whether her show sucks or not, people are going to go watch it just out of simple fact that they were upset with what happened to her.
To her credit, she's on some kind of a spiritual journey. She's seeking. She seems contrite, and she seems to be seeking.
But she was the draw. I agree with Carl, and that just didn't look. That trailer simply didn't look.
Even though I love John Goodman.
Yeah, he's good, but the rest of that cast just didn't do it for me. All right, Carl Higbie, always great to see you, Carl. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Chance.
Now we're going to show you that live shot again of those protesters, those anti-Kavanaugh. There they go in Washington, D.C. It looks like they're getting a little closer to the White House. It's they started at the federal.
Navy sailors there?
Those are Navy sailors. I think they're just crossing the. Yeah, those don't look like protesters. They look like sailors. But they started at the federal courthouse. They made their way down the mall. You could see the Capitol in the background. If I have my bearings correct, they're not too far from the White House right about now. And it seems like they'll be there all day. Now, I don't think this is going to change any minds. It's going to change any hearts of the people who matter, those in Congress and the Senate. But I'm going to tell you about that after the break. Could we see Judge Kavanaugh become Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh by the end of the weekend? I'm going to tell you all about that when we come back.